Okay, let's turn from there to our other big story, because a big political war has now erupted in Karnataka over a contractor's death. The contractor committed suicide and in his suicide note blamed senior BJP minister KS Eshwarappa for him. The contractor had claimed that the BJP minister was asking for a 40% commission to clear bills. The issue has now galvanized the opposition ahead of election next year, and they're asking for the minister's resignation. The minister remains defiant, says he's not going to resign. Either way, the politician-contractor nexus of Karnataka, and dare I say several states in this country, is slowly coming to life. Here's a report.
Karnataka Minister Eshwarappa and controversy go hand in hand. The outspoken senior BJP leader is now in the eye of a storm after a contractor blamed him for his death. The contractor, Santosh Patil, was found dead in Udipi hotel and police say it was a suicide. An FIR has been registered against the minister and his two aides for abetment of suicide after Patil's family said he was the cause of Santosh's death.
ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಟ್ಟ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಆಗಿದಾವೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದಾವು. ಎರಡನೇದು ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತು, ಏನೇನು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದಾನೋ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸು ಏನಿದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅವರು ಇಲಾಖೆಯವರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಮಟ್ಟ ಅವ್ರನ್ನು ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಆರೋಪಿಗಳನ್ನು ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಬಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಯ್ಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದೇ ನಂದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫೈಟ್.
Santosh Patil had in the past claimed that he was under pressure to pay a 40% commission to the minister to get bills cleared for a 4 crore contract. Eshwarappa, who is Rural Development and Panchayat Minister, had dismissed the charges and even filed a defamation case against Santosh Patil. So far, the BJP government has been backing Eshwarappa even as the opposition stepped up pressure.
First, they have to arrest him immediately, take up a case on corruption, which has been evident, and they have given in the entire documentation, in the writing, in the complaint itself is there. Why you have not included that section of corruption in the FIR?
Specifically, categorically mentioned in the complaint given by the brother of deceased Santosh K. Patil. But police have not registered a case under Section 13 of the Prevention of Corruption Act.
The Contractors Association has joined the demand for a probe against Eshwarappa. Pushed to the wall, Chief Minister Bommai might have to act against the former Karnataka Deputy CM.
FIR ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿವರಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈಶ್ವರಪ್ಪ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ 1 to 1 ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈಗ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನಡೆದಂಥ ಘಟನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ FIR ಆದಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು.
Until now, Eshwarappa has been defiant, publicly stating that there was no question of his resignation.
ऐसा लिख कर दिया था, वो डेथ नोट है। ये दोनों के बारे में वो स्पष्ट देने के लिए मैं उनको पूछ रहा हूँ। इस्तीफा पूछ रहा है, डेफिनेटली मैं इस्तीफा तो नहीं देगा।
The Eshwarappa controversy has cropped up with a year to go for elections in the state, giving the opposition a handle to attack the Bommai government, which has been battling rising communal tension of late. Bureau Report, India Today.
So is the Neta-contractor nexus out in the open in Karnataka? Are the skeletons slowly tumbling out of the Bommai government? Is it time for Chief Minister Bommai to focus on governance, not on religious polarization, as advised by his predecessor B.S. Yediyurappa? Some of the questions we'll raise tonight in our face-off. Brijesh Kalappa is the Congress spokesperson and senior leader of the party from Karnataka. Mohan Krishna is BJP spokesperson, also from Karnataka. Let me start with you, Mohan Krishna. It looks terrible, just the optics of it. A contractor who accuses the minister of taking a commission is found allegedly having committed suicide, and there is a suicide note or a WhatsApp message allegedly of this contractor Santosh Patil saying, Eshwarappa is responsible for my death, he has to be punished, I have suppressed all my desires in doing this, I request PM CM Yediyurappa to take care of my family. Just think about it. 40% commission, he puts out this note, and anyone will tell you in Karnataka that you speak to in private that every political party there takes money from contractors when they are in power. And now this suicide note. But the minister says this is all political, that he's being fixed politically. Is this an embarrassment or not, sir?
Good evening, Rajdeep. First of all, my deep condolences to the bereaved family of Santosh Patil. As you have mentioned, Honorable Chief Minister Bommai has presented a very good inclusive budget, and he is capable of taking the governance and the developmental works very positively in Karnataka. These issues will come and go. This is one of the issues, might be serious and a sensational one also.
No, this issue will come and go. I mean, what do you mean by that? A suicide note is... No, 1 minute.
Raised by Congress. This kind of issues raised by Congress.
You're saying the suicide note... No, you're saying the suicide note has been put there by the Congress party? You're saying the 40% commission letter is the Congress party?
Let me complete, please.
Yes.
The WhatsApp, for that matter, I request the Santosh Patil's brother Prashanth Patil here on your channel that Congress should have done, and we have requested them also to help them for the investigation by getting the body for the post-mortem first. Honorable Chief Minister has ordered for impartial probe, and there will be no interference from anybody in this matter. Once the probe is done, the investigation, prima facie, if found guilty anybody here, whether it is Mr. Eshwarappa or the accused in the FIR, whatever they have done. I would like to just give me 30 seconds. I would like to ask Mr. Siddaramaiah, when they have become the police officers, although he is a liar, Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, he is accused already and he is undergoing a trial in the ED and DA cases. How can he ask for what kind of morality he has got? What kind of morality he is talking about corruption?
Okay.
Let me take that. Arrest of Mr. Eshwarappa. How it is possible? Who is he going to decide? Is he IPS officer?
Okay.
The police?
You made your, Mr. Krishna, you made your point. Let me take it to the other side now. Brajesh Kalappa, Congress is asking for the resignation of the minister. Your Karnataka Congress chief, D.K. Shivkumar, as Mohan Krishna points out, himself was arrested last year by the Enforcement Directorate, has serious charges against him. In this case also, you cannot ask someone to resign based on a purported WhatsApp message. There isn't at the moment, it isn't as if there is a foolproof case to suggest that the minister is involved, can be accused of abetment to suicide. FIR has been filed. But if ministers are asked to resign on the basis of FIRs, half of the ministers in several states of this country will have to resign. So what is the basis on which you are calling for a resignation? Allow the inquiry at least to begin.
Rajdeep, the charges are very serious. And the first thing is that nearly a year ago, contractors in Karnataka wrote a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister and said that, look, 40% is now the commission which is being sought by the government of Karnataka. And you must remember that in 2018, Mr. Modi had come to Karnataka and he had made an allegation against Mr. Siddaramaiah saying that, no, here is a 10% government. Now, effectively what the contractors were saying is that Mr. Modi's BJP had increased that kind of commission from 10%, so-called 10%, to 40%.
No, not now, so-called. They said, Mr. Kalappa, they said it was 10%. Just a minute. They said it was 10% during the Congress regime. It's now 40%. It's not as if, when it comes to corruption in Karnataka, both the Congress and the BJP are in the dock today.
Exactly.
No, please, Mr. Krishna, don't intervene. Mr. Krishna, no intervening. Let him speak.
I'm not saying anything different. I'm saying that Mr. Modi himself had spoken about 10%. Now contractors are saying that the BJP government is demanding 40%. They have written 1 year ago. Mr. Modi has, of course, as you know, Mr. Modi comes alive only during elections. So naturally, one would expect that he would respond to these charges, which are made in 2022, sometime in 2023 when he comes here for elections. But in the meantime, Rajdeep, a Hindu Vahini secretary, national secretary, Mr. Santosh Patil, wrote about 3-4 months back, and there was a newspaper article, massive newspaper article, on the basis of which Mr. Santosh Patil had also stated to the press he had spoken to a number of members of the press, where he had specifically said, not just in the letter addressed to Mr. Modi, also to the newspapers, also to other journalists, that Mr. KS Eshwarappa had demanded 40% and that I had already invested X amount of money, and now that the work was not, the monies were not being released, and this is something which he had already spoken to the press. Now, Mr. Eshwarappa did something in terms of a legal action against him, but Santosh Patil didn't relent. He continued along the same lines. He kept speaking about this. The final one is the fact that he sends a WhatsApp message to members of the press fraternity and tells them that, look, if something were to happen to me, it's clearly Mr. Eshwarappa who has to face the flag for it.
No, but
now, after having said this, he commits suicide. So this is essentially
that WhatsApp message may embarrass Mr. Eshwarappa, but in a court of law, we still don't know whether that WhatsApp message can now lead to a charge of abetment of suicide. That is for an inquiry to find out what exactly happened. The Congress already seems to have decided that Mr. Eshwarappa is guilty.
Exactly. No, see, the point is this, Rajdeep, that if Mr. Eshwarappa were a normal person, and I would assume that, the law is equal to all people, then would there have been any manner of doubt that Mr. Eshwarappa would have been arrested long ago? Is that even worth asking? And, Mr. Eshwarappa is the kind of man, in 2012, when he was Deputy Chief Minister, there was a counting machine, currency counting machine found in his home. He had been found with 28 properties. So Mr. Eshwarappa is not somebody who is, known for his cleanliness in public life and probity in public life. So everybody knows that there is certainly something that certainly Mr. Eshwarappa has to answer for. Okay. And everybody in Karnataka knows what the story is.
That's a fair.
So if Mr. Eshwarappa is going to hide behind the fig leaf, that the WhatsApp may not be considered and so on and so forth, I must tell you that under 65B of the Indian Evidence Act, even a WhatsApp message can be considered to be a dying declaration.
Okay,
what basis is Mr. Eshwarappa being let off while anybody else in the country would have been taken to custody immediately?
Okay.
What is the reason for Mr. Eshwarappa, despite the fact that he has been mentioned on so many occasions? What is the reason that he has not still been arrested?
Mr. Kalappa, you made your point. Mohan Krishna, let's be clear here. Surely, given the manner in which this case is playing out, if you're saying, if the Prime Minister says, na khaunga, na khane dunga, one of your own Hindu Vahini members says that 40% commission is being demanded by a Karnataka minister. This is in the public domain. It has been supported by other contractors who also had signed on to that letter. Let's for a moment look away from even the suicide note, whether the individual was pushed into suicide or otherwise. Either way, what is the inquiry that has been done on a 40% commission demand that the contractors claim? Why has there been no inquiry on that? Why have no heads rolled? Who is protecting whom? The point is the chickens have come home to roost. This is the reality of Karnataka, that the builder politician nexus is out in the open and people like Mr. Eshwarappa are in the dock. Let's be honest now. You are in power. No point blaming the Congress on this one. You are in power in Karnataka.
Let me say this. You have raised a very beautiful point of 40%. I don't know whether you have seen that Contractors Association letter which was written to the Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi. 40%, if you have not seen, I will send that copy right away to you. It says 28% GST in that. They are claiming that 40% are the expenses, including the bank interest and the GST and other interest also included in that. Now, that 40%, this Congress is proclaiming, please, Mr. Kalappa, I have not intervened.
Yes,
this
go ahead.
40% what Congress is proclaiming and painting the BJP, Karnataka, as a 40% government. I would like to ask Mr. Brijesh Kalappa, who is Mr. Kempanna? What kind of activities you are doing with Kempanna? Who is the Contractors Association president? Comes and does the press conferences in 19 districts. He has written a letter. He has written a letter to Prime Minister Modi. There was an internal inquiry done through the PMO that what is this 40%? And if you see the letter, Mr. Rajdeep, and it is clearly evident that 28% GST. What is that Congress is thinking or contractors are thinking that GST they are bribing for the country? What is this, Rajdeep?
So you are claiming that the 40% is a fictional ended, that no commissions are taken on contracts in Karnataka.
And he blames.
Therefore, all these money machines that are found in the houses of ministers are all a figment of the imagination of the media. Either way,
that is the narration of the Congress.
You claim it's
BJP.
Okay, so the BJP has completely, in your view, there are no commissions being taken. This is an entirely fictional story being created. I hope at least there will be an inquiry, because only when there is a proper...
inquiry.
Not an inquiry conducted by the state government, but let there be an impartial inquiry where it is clear whether Mr. Eshwarappa was involved with the contractor or not. Either way, Brajesh Kalappa, Mohan Krishna, I appreciate your joining us on our political face-off at the top of the news today.